Yeah, so look, podcast episode number 13. I got Ciaran Clarke, undefeated Bellator fighter here, and my co-host Brendan Byrne. So what's good with you, Ciaran? How's training going these days?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, first of all, lads. And yeah, it's been mad, I suppose, for us all. It's I've been lucky now. In fairness, I have my brother Darryl. He fought for years and is still training away. He's off college at the minute and work, so he's an apprentice plumber. So he was off, and I was able to get some training with him. So I was able to do bits with him, and I'm just kind of doing what I can, lads. Really, running. Bit of hard work, bit of just what I can, lads. To be honest, watching some fights and trying to learn new things and doing what I can with all this going on. As yourself. So exactly. Doing what I can.
But in terms of like learning new things, like where is John Kavanagh? Is he sending you out a program? Are you looking to say Jack Slack, some of his breakdowns? Like where are you getting the new information from?
I tell you what, I like watching fighters that I feel I can learn from. I know obviously like that is quite straightforward, but I'm not going to look at like Adesanya or something and think like that I can start being like him, so if that makes sense. So I kind of watch fighters that I think I can implement into my style, if that makes sense, or I could take something from, or I feel that has the same style as me, or I feel I can warp myself into something that they're doing, or learn a few things like that. But it's very it's most of the time you're watching fights and it's the same thing over again. You're seeing the sequences and but then maybe you might catch something you're like, oh, that's nice there. I might try that in the gym there tomorrow, or he might do done it a different way, or So things like that, man. I'm ticking over like Jack Slack there. You said yourself, he's very good as well. So just things like that, like, and again, John would be very he'd be very close to us, seeing what we're doing training wise and everything else, and keeping an eye out, because at the end of the day, we don't know when the next fight's going to be, so it could be we don't know, so we just have to be ready and keep getting better, as ourselves. So.
Yeah, just what you said about you're not going to emulate Adesanya because he's just not a similar body type. You're not going to really moving that way. When we were watching the fights there the other night, myself and Brendan, we noticed a couple of similarities between you and Khabib. We were calling Khabib on Nurmagomedov Clarke. So we saw a lot of similarities just in your skills and stuff. But also, like, you're quite compact in that. Have you been watching him recently, or?
I'll tell you what, I watch a lot of Khabib, because I can look at him and I can say, just as you said, I feel the same kind of look. I'm not obviously nowhere near him, but I mean, I feel the same body type, that kind of pressure style, same kind of style in the fence, I get I watch a lot of Khabib, and actually for a lot of fights, I like to watch him, like little highlight clips, and kind of get into that like kind of mindset, like that you're gonna go in there and maul them, like just kind of have that aggressive style coming forward, So I love to be honest, if it asked me my favorite fighter, I wouldn't be because of his personality or anything. No, not that I don't like his personality, but I love Khabib's style, because to be honest, I can look at him and say, look, I feel that's the goal for me. Whereas I'm not going to go in and say, like, to go in there and move like Conor or southpaw and on the toes, or Adesanya, as you said, So, and actually the other day when the fights are on, not the Leon Edwards one, the one before that was the Adesanya fight. But I was mad to watch Khabib's teammate. I was like, I can't wait to watch him see what he done, because and he did something really nice. The way he took your man down, it was really nice. And I was trying that in the gym then, So people like that I love watching, like, that I can learn from. And not that I can't learn from the wrestling, but as you said, I don't understand body type as some of them, Anderson Silva or Adesanya, or these kind of guys. I'm not the same body type, so I can't really
those long black guys.
Exactly. Exactly. And they are they're different to me. So, but the rest of the guy, like the likes of Khabib and Makhachev, I think his name is, I can look at them and say, kind of similar style, similar body type, you say, kind of compact. I can learn things from watching them fights. So I love watching that kind of style.
That's a really. Can I just go, Brendan?
How does that go down in SBG when you say you're a Khabib fan?
Oh man, yeah, that's again, as I said, it's and I think you know what John will even say himself. Like he learns a lot every time he fights. He learns from watching things he does, and yeah, like I think it hurts us to say that, you know, with a bit of rivalry there with Conor, you know. But yeah, like I mean, the guy's unbelievable. That you know, that kind of at the moment, like I mean, I think that's where it is at the minute. It's not the kind of wrestler style of the Americans now, where it was like maybe a few years ago, but now it's more like Khabib, you know, kind of that judo style, like, you know, what John just said, it's kind of more trips in the fence and just a different style. And I love it, to be honest. As I said, you can learn from them, but yeah, it doesn't go down too well, really. Yeah,
but that's a really cerebral approach, I think, to like recognize that, look, you're like, everybody wants to go in there and be John Jones, but not everybody has an 84-inch reach. You know what I mean? And you see
exactly.
a lot of these Irish guys, and they go in there and they try and move like Conor, as you say. They're lighting their toes, and they're southpaw, even though they're right-handed. Like, they're all these different things. But at the end of the day, they're not the athlete Conor is. They're not the, you know, the martial arts mind he is. So
exactly.
I think for you to, like, you know, just take that approach, and so far it's been working for you.
That's it, man. Yeah, it's working.
We were, as we were saying, we were watching the fights, and we were saying there's really a third round Clarke type thing going on, because that first fight, obviously you submitted your man. Third round, the second fight got to the third round, and it was a little bit of back and forth till then, and then you just started bludgeoning your man, like there was blood all over the canvas, and then obviously the third fight, then you got that 10-8. So yeah, I mean, why is that? Like, why is the third round so effective for you? Because you don't often see that with guys, you know.
Yeah, you know, I was always like that amateur as well. I only felt I was getting going in the third round, where, you know, other guys were, and as well, I had to recognize that as well at amateur, because it is only 3 threes, and you know, I kind of had to change my style for there as well. But I don't know, man. If people be kind of ask me, like, what you just keep going, and I don't know. It's just that's just my style from when I started. I'd be very stubborn, and yeah, I feel I'm only getting going kind of at the third round, you know, and I feel I'd have worked very hard on my cardio, you know. I always had good cardio and worked very hard, so I'd have kind of pride myself on that. So maybe it's down to that, but a lot of the time it's kind of mindset, you know. It's kind of in those exchanges, I'm winning them, you know what I mean? It's in my head, and I don't stop, you know. So I think that's more really what it is, because at the end of the day, you know, everybody is fit, everybody's strong, everybody's going to come in there with all these attributes, because you need to have them, you know. But on the night and in there, you know, it's the training you were doing before, but not just, as I said, to be fit and everything else, but it's the you know, the situation you're putting yourself in the gym, and I'm constantly I'm working to what I'm good at, you know. So when I get the guys there, I've been there before, and I know where their breaking points are, where mine are, and that's why I bring the fight to them in that way, you know. So I think it's down to that, because as I said, everybody's fit, everybody, you know. Think about, like, I don't know, like, it always amazes me, someone that's like a footballer or something, like everybody's fit, you know, they're athletic and everything else fast, but what separates them from everybody else, you know? So it's kind of comes down to all that at the end of the day, you know.
GSP talks about that a lot, like your kind of sport specific fitness. The more technical you are, the more economy and movement you have. Like, GSP can't, you know, go with an Olympic swimmer, and an Olympic swimmer can't wrestle with GSP, and not just technique wise, but just in terms of cardio.
Exactly. And you know, even you hear Conor say it, and then a bit of efficiency, you know, and you know, he talks about Mayweather's just more efficient, and that is true, because to say someone like Conor isn't one of the fittest people in the world, is one of the fittest athletes in the world, it's bizarre, you know what I mean? Like, he is in the prime of his life, you know, and
an Irish animal, as they say.
Exactly. And why was he gassing out? Because it is true. Like, I mean, Conor is that type of style, you know. Just to give a perfect example, in the first round, if he catches it, he's knocking you out. And then in the later rounds, you know, he's going to fade, because he sacrifices his genetics. Is in the first round, he catches you, you're going out. in the later rounds, it's just the way it is, you know. Whereas you look at Diaz, first round he's only getting going, and the later rounds he's you know, he comes on more. And it's the same with a swimmer, just as you said, it's their efficiency to the strokes. Whereas you don't put me into a pool, you're wrecked after 1 or 2 lengths. Like, you know, like I used to love to swim for the fitness, like, and like it's so tough, like. But it's because if I was a better swimmer, it wouldn't be as hard for me. You know the way it goes. So yeah, to say like I suppose it definitely is it's your efficiency, you know.
That's an interesting what you said about the swimming. Would you say, like, because obviously when you get in there, you look like you're stronger than guys. Like they're all 145 pounds, and you're just throwing them on the ground, and you're out muscling them. So where's that coming from? Is that natural? Is that the swimming, or like, you know, how are you the stronger athlete?
Do you know what? And as well, it's funny you say that, because I wouldn't be the biggest 145 pounder. Like, you look at the likes of you know, I suppose now at the minute, like, there's big guys in the UFC, you know, that come down big weight.
Your Brian Ortega's, your
you know,
those top guys, huge, 5'11", and they're thick guys too, like
Max Holloway, you know, or there's one that comes to mind, or like a Ricardo Lamas, you know, he was massive, like, big, and obviously Conor as well, huge guys, like. But I think again it's down to when I get in there, I just feel I've never felt like that I needed to go down a weight class right now. And even at amateur, I fought a 70 same day weighing, and like the lads be bigger, but I felt stronger, you know. So I don't know what I put that down to, because like early on I used to like from about when I started with 15, 16 to about till I got to SPG, and I was lifting like weights like consistently for, you know, twice a week, you know, sport specific, you know, consistently. But I wouldn't put it down to that. I don't know. I think as you said, it's my technique, you know. It's the way I get into the positions, and it's the way I use my pressure. It's the understanding of it, you know, and that's all down to the coaching again, you know.
And maybe as well just being relaxed. Like with those 24 amateur fights, you go in there and you know what you're about. You're not, you know, oh, there's a crowd there, oh, this is a fight. Like another guy who's only had a couple amateur fights. But just what you said there about the not being a huge guy, not cutting a huge amount of weight, I wonder, does that play into your third round cardio? Because these other bigger guys are fading, and then you're just turning on the jets.
Yeah, I think so. I think it does. And look, I know there's going to be a stage where, you know, I think at this level now, the few kilo, it doesn't matter. And as well, I've never come out of a fight and said, oh, that guy was bigger, or I lost because he was bigger. And there's a far bigger guys and won and lost against them. But I never come out there and said, oh, I need to pack on the pounds, or I need to drop a weight class, or I need to go up a weight, you know. So none of us really think like that, you know. It's so it's because I tell you this, when I went to SPG nearly 6 years ago now, myself and my brother, and you know, I wouldn't be the smallest guy up there, because I'd be kind of in like the mid range, if that makes sense. Kind of, you know, I work with kind of like the 70 kilo over guys, and under 80 kilo in that kind of frame, which would be kind of average, you know, up there. That's kind of the biggest kind of range of weights up there. And but when I went there first, I was like getting ragdolled by like the small guys. I was like, sure, it doesn't matter what weights I'm lifting, you know, they're gonna smash me because they're better, you know. And that was all down to their technique. So that's an eye opener as well. Of course, when you get to the higher levels of the sport, you know, those extra few kilos might make a difference. Like a Yoel Romero against a, you know, a Michael Bisping maybe, or, you know, that comes down to it. But I think at this level now, it's I'm not coming out there thinking, you know, I should have put on the few kilo, or do you get me? So it's I don't think it makes a difference too much.
Even looking at your own division in the UFC and looking at the current champion Alexander Volkanovski, obviously he came down from a huge weight, and everybody knows his story.
210 pounds. That man was huge, Brendan.
In terms of height, he's given up height to guys like Max Holloway. He's going to be giving up height to Brian Ortega in this upcoming fight. But would you look at a guy like him, and obviously, again, different styles. You're not looking at Adesanya, so maybe you're not looking at one of his City Kickboxing teammates. But do you look like at a guy like him, or even a guy like Chad Mendes, and kind of model yourself off that shorter 145er?
Definitely. Yeah, exactly. Like, do you know what? I wouldn't even like looking at them guys. Like, they're kind of like, I'm 5'8" and I've like 60 7 or 8 inch reach. I'm not too sure on that, but those guys are kind of like 5'6", 5'7", but like I would even say like they're like I wouldn't even they'd be more kind of off the mark kind of sprinters than me, if that makes sense. Whereas I'm more the the endurance guy. And I learned that early, like not early on, but I kind of learned that about myself. I'm not the sprint. I'm not the fastest guy. I'm not the I'm not the quickest. So I mean, but I did know that at the end of the session I'd feel fresher than the rest of them. So I kind of built my style around that. And again, I'm not going to go in there and start trying to, because like everybody hits hard, but like the likes of say Connor or something, they have the touch of death, literally. Like they touch it and the rights, they catch it anyway. They're going out. But for myself,
have you felt that left hand a couple of times?
I have actually, yeah. I felt it once or twice, all right. Now he never went obviously full pelt at me and put me out cold in the ground around. But I've sparred Connor before, and he's hit me a few body shots, all right. And I felt that, trust me, it's first hand, and obviously in the fights you can see it, But again, I know I wasn't that. Again, don't get me wrong. I know if I catch anyone, I can put them down. But with him, he's so confident that if he just gets one shot, he's going to put them away. So I kind of knew that early on about myself and kind of warped my style around that, and that's how I trained then, whereas some guys, as you said at the start there, they're coming in like Connor on the toes, orthodox, they're not, it's not them, their body type doesn't suit you, so.
But I was just going to say also, you say you're 5'8", so what way are you walking around at then before you cut down? Say the fight week, what are you, before you do your cuts at?
Fight week before I cut him, before the fight, I'd be happy if it was about 72, 71 before the fight,
Yeah.
And then the week over, I'll drop it down and, cut a bit of water and so on. But like there's some guys out there that like monsters, like cutting like a good solid 7 kilos the day before, literally cutting that water. Now I wouldn't put that in water, but my God, I actually wrote it down the last time. I forget what it was, but some of them guys be putting on a stone and then getting into the fight, whereas that's not me. Like I'm only going up to about, I'm not even sure what I'd be going back up to, but because I don't obsess over that. And I think a lot of people obsess over what weight they are on the day, or I'm coming in kind of light, or I'm too light, I just, I don't obsess over that, because as I said, I felt it didn't matter, so.
I'd say it's mostly about coming in fresh. Like I know I used to do a bit of judo, and once or twice I cut those 4 or 5 kilos, and the next day you'd feel it in the legs. Whereas if it's only 2 or 3, it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, no, big time. And as you said, just from putting weight yourself, it's not nice. Like I've done it stupidly before, and when I was an amateur and when I was fighting a good bit, and you feel it, you do. You don't feel in top form, So it definitely makes a difference. But I think there is a science to it, and obviously everybody at the top has it down to a T, or they should anyway. But for now, I feel good. I feel good at 145. I feel good. I mean, look how well I've done it at the moment. So hopefully just keep it going.
Yeah, 100%. You feel good and you look good, man. You are putting in serious work. Putting in serious work in that cage. Look good in the cage, Ciaran. You're safe. I'm not going to grapple you. But just some of the things we were talking about there played out in your second, pro fight against Falding, where after a closely contested first round, in the second round you started to come on strong, and at the end of that second round the bell goes and you stand up, and it felt like you just had a moment where you connected with the crowd, and I assume you remember, you let that roar out and the crowd roared back.
Did you pull it up actually, Brendan?
That experience. I can, yeah. You can tell us about it there while I'm trying to pull it up.
Yeah, well, I looked into Falding before it, and he was watched a few interviews, and I seen him on the Joe Rogan, and actually I didn't see him on the Joe Rogan. That's kind of a funny one, but I later found out after he was on the Joe Rogan, not as a guest obviously, but someone pulled up a clip of him, doing a spinning, some sort of kick anyway. But
you're on the No Knowledge podcast, so next best thing.
But he was even complimenting him and the whole lot, and so he was highly touted over there in England, and I knew he never went out the first round, So again, he was that style, he was that first rounder, he went in, got the job done. But I knew if you haven't felt that before, especially in there, it's different in the gym, but if you haven't felt there on the night, and I knew he was going to go for that armbar, he was going to get the side control, he was going to spin for it, and honestly, in there, he was actually quicker than I thought, but I was able to get out of it then, obviously, but yeah, and then as soon as the first round was over, I was like, bang, I had that mental edge over him straight away, and I knew I was going to bring him to deep waters, and he faded, so. And,
here we are now, I think.
This at the end of the second round, and yeah, obviously, I'm not sure how close that is. Yeah, and I kind of landed off 1 or 2 shots here, and then stood up, and then I felt, even just looking down them there, and when I looked down them, I seen the blood, and I don't know, I just got excited, and looking back, I wish I had got the finish in the third, but yeah, man, I knew I had that mental edge over him going into the fight. I knew if I bring him to deep waters, he's going to quit, and yeah, I feel he did, mentally.
But I liked as well, and maybe you could pull it up again, where he was bleeding excessively. Like it's one of the fights I've seen where there's almost too much blood. Where I was like, Jesus, that's rough.
Yeah.
But you just kept punching him. You didn't let off. You had that killer instinct. So
yeah, I just looking back, I think the ref kind of would have probably because of the blood, I think because of the blood, and I felt it in him. He wanted an earlier way out, but I was that much blood. Even I could feel it on my face, and all I knew, I could feel the warmth, and even the smell of blood. It's mad, like, and I was like, no way, like I could even feel the warmth of it, and I was like, I didn't realize how much it was until like I pushed it up then and went to throw a punch or an elbow there, and I was like, no, like I was just in the moment there, to be honest. And I was just tipping away. I was catching a few shots in the nose. I busted the nose, like I bloodied it, and then I caught him with the elbow in the nose. So his nose was fairly banged up, I'd say, after. But
were you aiming for his nose? Like, were you trying to get more of a gash in him?
You know what? Those little gloves, they really, like, literally a tip off them, and like, man, like, they really mark you up. Like, even when you're in the gym, and sometimes we're grappling, and if you hit that little small shot, they really mark you up. I remember I fought a guy, Connor Hitchens, who's doing really well at the minute at pro. I fought him in England, and he kind of had the amateur style. The pro style amateur gloves. They're 7 ounce, but they're still amateur because of the weight, but they're shaped like a pro glove. And I'm not joking, like, he hit me a jab, and I could like feel it get marked up, and my face after it was banged up, and I was like, if I can use them again, if I could use them ever, I'll use them, because like literally a jab, like, or it marks you up straight away, like, and especially with the smaller gloves, literally one shot, it can mark you up big time. So
I'm gonna jam in a segue here. I was gonna ask you about earlier, but just when Don's talking about all the blood there in the third round, you're talking about, wanting to finish in the third round. That could have been a doctor stoppage, but it just reminds me of those Gunnar Nelson, those heavy elbows from the top.
Yeah.
And just when you talk about Khabib and kind of looking at his game, something that me and Don noticed looking at your game was those similarities to Gunnar in, that compact nature and just your posture on top, your top control. Is Gunnar someone that you've taken a lot from in the past?
Yeah, Gunnar would be as well, because I mean, looking at him, like, my God, he's just so it's clinical, like, everything's just picture perfect, like, it's John's teaching would be like, that would be the perfect way to do it, it would one takedown, that's one thing John would say to us, like, like Khabib, like, I remember one of the fights he fought Abel Trujillo. That's the one, and he got, like, I don't know how many takedowns, but like John was like, it's impressive, but you should only need one takedown. Gunnar Nelson, bang, one takedown and submission or stoppage, So he's right in that sense. So that's kind of like where I kind of have that happy medium. I want that kind of, I want to, have that kind of Khabib pressure, but I don't want to, make it longer than I should, So I'm working at that at the minute, So definitely looking at Gunny, that's picture perfect. I mean, even that elbow you got in that cowboy guy, my God, like that was it was picturesque. It was unbelievable. Like,
Khabib got 21 takedowns in that fight, so you're trying to cut 20 off that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, John. That's what John says. You only need one takedown. So if you get the one, make sure you get the finish. Which he's right.
When you're looking at Khabib's, like he started off and he was getting those takedowns, just controlling and doing a little bit of damage from the top. And it's really only later in his career that he added the finishes. So maybe as I don't know, you're on that same trajectory. For a couple of fights, you're going to be, taking guys to decision dominantly, and then after that, it's going to be submission, and
you're right. I like to think that myself because I'm only starting the professional game, so I'm still trying to change my style to look for those finishes. And I'm watching Khabib. He had that kind of the change in his career. There's been a lot of breakdowns on YouTube, and he always used to go for the single leg in the open and the low single shot. But in the open wrestling, it's very, very hard to finish something. If they do, they spring back up. That'd be the same with me. If I get them to the fence, I can hold them there. It's nearly like it's a third leg for you nearly, or a third it's a third hand for you nearly there. That stop. Like I know if I get them there, they can't go anywhere else. Where in the open, they might spring back up and they're up. So he noticed that then maybe halfway through. Even you seen him against like the Sanyos or what was that guy? The guy he went to decision, which was very close. The fella he didn't take down.
Tebow.
That's the one. That's the one. Yeah. So like even with him, it was actually probably after that. He was like, right, these single legs, and the shots out in the open aren't working. I need to get them to the fence, and then he started going to the Dagestani handcuff. Going to position. Yeah. You get to the back. He doesn't care if he's not going for the hooks in or the body lock. He's going for the shots. So definitely, or wrapping the legs up in the fence. So watching these kind of positions, I'm trying to get myself into a position where I can land damage, Whereas likes a Falden fight, I'm in a half guard position. There's not much space. As soon as I make space, he's gonna bang straight up on an underhook or stand up, So I'm trying to put myself in these positions like Khabib that I've no choice but to land damage. So I'm working on that in the gym, So
we actually have a clip. If young Jamie could pull that up for us, that'd be. And here we are. It's talking about that cage wrestling game. Here you are in your third pro fight. It's third round Ciaran Clarke again. And something that we noticed in this fight was that is a smooth back take.
Yeah, man. Let me see there. Did he? Yeah, had the knee in the middle. Yeah, just looking at it here. Yeah, so there I was on the fence. Kind of
straight on, rapid.
Kind of James Gallagher special as well. He's very good at the body lock, makes them give up the overhook and straight onto the back. So again, that's just down to me, the coaching I'm getting. With John. That's the I know I'm there every day. And most days are up in Dublin with John, and I mean that's the teachings of John. All of this here, working on this now lately. When I was in this position. The guy John, which is a very tough guy, he was happy to stay here. I was just looking at him because he's not. I can't land devastating blows there. I was trying to get the few thumbs in the eye like Gunnar Nelson, but he knew like, look, if I stay here, I'm not gonna like get damaged or get finished. But again, if he had a bit more urgency to win, that's where I thought I could have got the finish, So, but I'm working on that now, taking time. I did once or twice, but I should have got the finish there. But I did it one or two nice. Here I might got the underhook here and back up on top. But just working on things like that, just looking back in the fights here, You look, higher man wins, took top off it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So kind of working on them transitions there.
Alarm bar potentially there. That's what I liked actually. Like you're always going for that position over submission. Like you're not trying to lock up anything before it's really, really there.
Exactly. Yeah. Again, it's smart. Look here. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna posture up. He's gonna try to get up. He was very good, very springy. And look, he's giving his back up, back onto the back. That's just down to experience. And it's again all of me all the coaching. That's them split decision making things there. I mean, that could have cost me the fight. So look onto the body lock. If I'd have kept that hook in out there, he could have just spun, took the hook out and stood up. So it's things like that that I'm actually really happy watching this back. I haven't watched it in a while now, so yeah, it's
you that must have been a huge win for you, because those other guys, you know, like I suppose the first guy, or they were 1-0, you were 1-0. Like, there were guys that you could have beaten, whereas this guy, he was 8-1, I think, going into your fight. Yeah. And he's a French guy. They obviously, like, you'd think they brought him in to win in Paris. You were brought in to lose, and you just dominated him.
Yeah, like, I mean, on paper, that's what it was. You know, it was essentially, I was going over to France to fight there. You know, this guy that's coming back after a long layoff. He was set to fight Conor back in the day for Cage Warriors belt. You know, he was. You know, I even watched some interviews of him, and his coach was saying, look, if you want to be a world champion, now's the time to come back. And, you know, he was highly touted himself, you know. And when he was my age, you know, I think he's 31 now.
There.
Yeah, actually, someone said it to me, which is funny. You would have been a superstar if you had picked up the gum shield and stuck it in his mouth. That would have been class.
Oh, that would have been an epic moment, man. You're going viral for that.
You would have made it. You would have blown up, and so I sure that would have been brilliant. If I'd have took the gum shield, stuck it in his mouth, hit the punch or something, that would have been brilliant.
But he almost gets you here as well. I don't know how tight was that.
Been honest, it wasn't tight. No, it wasn't on at all. It was just his last chance at it, but no, it wasn't tight. And if it was, you can be sure after 14 and a half minutes of dominating, I was going out after that because I was not letting him get tight, you know. But no, it wasn't tight. It wasn't on. But he had it in him to go for it at the end, obviously, you know. So.
But I was very happy there when I saw him walk out. I was watching it live, and I saw he had the kickboxing shorts on.
Yeah,
and I was just thinking, this guy is about to get taken down, and he's going to be kept there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And do you know what? And it happened fairly quick. You know, I went in. I was working actually a sequence. I was working on something. It was a high single. I went for the high single, and I would always have trouble getting that. I knew, obviously, you know, but it was something that I learned literally a few weeks before it. And it's not, these things are not like that you just learn. It's like you're doing them, but it might change your mind. Like, I don't know, how could I explain it? You know, you're doing something on your life, and next minute later, someone shows you a different way, a more efficient way, you know. So
I know exactly, yeah.
Exactly. So
just from judo, as in you go in there for months and you won't get a throw, and then one day it just clicks. You know
exactly.
What I mean?
That's what it was, and it clicked for me. And I went in straight away, got the high single. I learned it off. There's a new wrestling coach in SPG. He was an Olympic wrestler actually for Algeria, I think it was. And I can't pronounce his name, but he's savage. Like, he's really, really good. So he showed me that detail, and it really changed that technique for me. And within straight away got into the fence and got the Dagestani handcuff, as they call it, straight away. And I was like, nah, it can't be this easy. And then lo and behold, obviously he was strong. Then, you know, he was like, he was a bollocks to keep down. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to the next one now. Whenever it is, I'm not sure, to show the improvements, you know, working on my game since that fight, just gone off that fight, the last few fights, and trying to improve, just make it better.
You haven't got any word on that, have you? Like, when's the next one coming up? Have they sent you a contract, or is there anything in the pipeline?
Breaking news on the No Knowledge podcast.
Unfortunately not, lads. I'd love to, but just with these lockdowns, Ireland's been, you know, so strict with them. You know, Europe, everywhere else, England, UK, and obviously, as you know, it's primarily would be based Bellator Europe around, you know, England and Ireland at the minute, you know. So, and there's obviously not enough signed Bellator fighters for us to have it just behind closed doors even here. So, it's a pain in the ass, lads, but it's I'm not sure. I really don't know. I really don't. I don't know when these restrictions are maybe laid off, that's when we can see it. But as we know, you know, tomorrow could change, you know. So I really don't know.
Must be frustrating, like, because, you know, ring rust, as far as I can see, is real. And if you get a couple of, you know, you had momentum there, you had a couple of wins, and maybe if you went to another one, you would have brought that, you know, and it would have been an easier fight.
Yeah, no, look, I just want to in the gym now, me because I've never felt that before, to be honest. I've never felt that training not when, like, obviously the end goal in sight is there, but I mean nothing to, like, you know, right, yeah, May comes, you have a fight, you know, so you can kind of like nearly train for your weeks coming. Yourself, it's because it does turn into a training camp then, and but like it's hard. I've never felt that before, to be honest. So you always have in your head, right, I'm gonna have, say, September Dublin or whatever. The year before, I knew I was gonna have the September Dublin one, so I was like, right, I'm gonna start training. Or even a name. As soon as you get a name, bang, or a face, you're like, right, that's kind of your motivation, So I don't have that at the minute. Now, at the minute, it's just I'm helping other guys that are fighting at the minute. So I'm kind of just I'm just trying to get better from now until the next one, which whenever it is, I'm not sure. But look, it's positive and negatives. It's came at a bad time that I was just taken off and I got the second contract, but it'll be good now to hopefully it's not too long that I'll be able to show off. I've been working
how many fights do you have left in your contract, actually?
So we'll be signed for 6 fights. So essentially it'll be over 2 years in an ideal world with no lockdowns, and I would have 3 a year. So that'd be brilliant. So, but obviously now it's going to be different. So who knows? If I got one this year looking at it, I'd be happy. So we'll see what happens.
Well, look, man, you had a huge 2020, and as Don says, trying to capitalize on that progress. But one good thing to come out of it as well was that draw of the Sports Star Award, and that was nice, man.
Yeah, it's up for that, lads, because I mean, no one was ever nominated from MMA in the town, and just because the way that the rep the sport has, it's only starting off really, and there wouldn't be many doing it, say, at that kind of level, and so it was the first time someone was nominated, and then to win it, it was tough, because normally it's nothing against them, but it's normally the GAA lads or the rugby lads that, such a big community with the teams behind them, and then here's myself that's after winning it, and I was chuffed, so, and I was delighted with it. I was delighted, and it was really it was a really good thing for the sport in the town, and to show that it's on the up, and I'm delighted,
But as you were saying, the whole town is backing you. You were listing out in one of your interviews. You said you got the bus company. There's just some pizza guys. There was just all these companies giving you sponsorship and helping you along, like.
And buses and fans coming to see you as well.
Yeah, no, it's unreal, lads. I mean, I think that's nearly the difference when you're doing an individual sport or something like fighting, I think, as well, because I think, like, everyone can, I don't know how, if it makes sense, everyone can relate to it in that sense, they're like, no way, fair play, whereas if it's other sports, it doesn't knock their accomplishments in any way, but I think when it comes down to, the fighting, that I think people have a lot of respect, and when they're doing well in it, and when you're from the town, and I mean, because the way it goes with teams, I used to play for the Blues, when I was younger, playing Gaelic, so everyone hated the Blues, because it's because we were winning everything, that's why. But I was joking, but the way it goes, so it's not it's they might not get behind you because you're with them, but here I am on my own doing it from the town, and so everybody's gotten behind me,
I mean, you're repping Drogheda, you're repping Ireland, you got the whole thing. But
exactly.
I think one of the things with MMA is there's nowhere to hide. You're getting in there and it's on you. It's not like you're playing 15 lads with the football team. You can and say, oh, it was his fault we didn't, and it was that lad. It wasn't me. The MMA, it's on you and on you.
Yeah, exactly. And as well, that was another thing for me. Boy, I enjoyed it so much because I was always interested in it. I was always, I did dabbed in a bit of boxing a few months at a time here and there, and I just always loved fighting, if that makes sense. It intrigued me, and when I was playing with the Gaelic and stuff, and I wasn't, not that I'm not a team player, but I'd be an introvert. I don't believe it or not, I don't like the attention and all the attention on me. I don't like to be center of attention in a room, or things like that. I don't like that. So when I was on the team, say if you messed up or something, or just and I played football as well, and say if you messed up, you felt like you were letting everybody else down. Whereas if I lose or whatever, it's on myself in MMA, and that goes for any individual sport. So that suited me more, so that's why I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, well, it's good to see the support of the town behind you. I know it's cliche to say at this stage, but it really has that when one of us goes to war, we all go to war.
That's the truth. That is the truth, yeah. And especially us from Drogheda, you know, it's normally, it's like it's normally, you know, there's obviously there's plenty in Dublin there and the whole lot, but yeah, I think everybody's just gotten behind me so much. It's unbelievable. I mean, you know, people can say what they want about the town, but my God, I can't say a bad thing, because the support I've gotten from local businesses to everybody, just, you know, it's unbelievable. Like, everybody really wants to see you do well, and I'm forever grateful for it, because I tell you what, at the end of the day, no matter what I do with it, I'll look back in years to come and say, you know what, that was unreal. Like you feel grateful for it, you know, like, to think how many people got behind you and wanted to see you do well, you know, it's brilliant.
And just talking about that then, your opportunity to give back through the youth MMA program that was just approved in Drogheda there. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that and your involvement in it?
Yeah, so I suppose from the start it would be Danny Core, which would be a very respected long-time martial artist up in Northern Ireland. He was the first guy to up there introduce it into through government funding, introduce it to his own gym, and he does it through, it would be kind of like a Catholic Protestant peace kind of thing up there in Belfast, or up there in the north. So he was very successful with that. You know, out of this program, the people that do it, the young teenagers that do it, they will be able to get leaving cert maths, English. They'll be able to obviously everything else. By doing the sport, it will give them confidence. It will hopefully get rid of the ego, because that's a big thing, as we know, lads. You know, when you're growing up, everybody has notions of themselves, and you know as yourselves. You know, we were all there not so long ago, and
some of us still do, Ciaran.
You know, there you go. So it's you know, so, and then when you start doing the sport and that, I feel, you know, you have to respect everybody, no matter if they're white belt first day or they're doing it how many years, because at the end of the day, you know, we were all there once. And
I remember a Conor interview actually where he was saying these kids that come into the gym and they're that high, and I see good times ahead, because he said those people go on and they'll conquer the business world or the MMA world or whatever they want to. But just when you mentioned the white belts, how long did it take you to get that blue belt? Because I know, you know, since you started, because there's a couple of my friends and they're white belts, and they're really, really good white belts, and they just can't understand why they're not being promoted, you know?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, when we were doing it, we brought back in our first gym at Conor Dillon, we didn't do the gi, so we just did kind of, he was only young at the time, 23 when we started. He was in his professional career, MMA, so he was kind of MMA based. So we weren't doing a lot in the gi. We were doing just mostly MMA grappling, if that makes sense. Just positions on the ground for MMA, you know. So, and then like a few years in, he started getting into the gi and stuff. And so that took us, I'm not sure, it might have been 4 or 5 years, but it just depends. I mean, some gyms you look at, they've just different a different approach to it. Some gyms, you know, you might see the 40-year-old that's just training day to day and he gets his blue belt. He might get it fairly quick. You know, a blue belt actually is the definition of it through the Gracies is you should be able to submit a bigger, stronger, untrained opponent. So that doesn't take that long, you know. So probably they're at that level a long time, you know. So maybe just their gym or their coach they're probably competitive. You know, they're probably doing well at white belt and stuff. So it's all down to the gym and the coach. But myself, I think it was 4 years.
Really, yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
I may tell that to my friend Rob. He basically has his own gym during lockdown. So he got all these mats. He put them out on the floor, up in the attic, and he just brings all the boys over, and we all roll. Rob he's ridiculously good. But I don't know, he's getting upset that he's not getting his blue belt. But in fairness, he barely goes to any gyms, like, you know, proper gyms. So the other day, and it's you know, it's not, we frowned upon, I would say, but I bought my blue belt. Not that I'm I'm positioned pro anybody.
Yeah.
From a blue belt and gave it to him, and I said, "There you go, Rob. You're a blue belt now." But I think when he hears that it took you 4 years, 5 years, it might encourage him to stick with it and stay going.
Yeah, no, definitely. And you know what? It's funny because when you do get there, you're like, it's always the same. You don't feel like one, or you. I don't know how to explain it. It's a crazy one. It's and you want to like I'm a pup belt now. I think 3 years, 2-3 years, but like yeah, like I mean that's going back to the humbleness. You're constantly getting humbled in the mat. By other pup belts, and then obviously the brown belts, and of course you're catching them as well. And then you might you'll get some blue belts that are killers as well. So I think that's another thing that will that teaches you in this sport. And again, what I'd say to your mate is don't rush him, man. Just enjoy it. If he's enjoying the training, you don't think any less of him, or he shouldn't think any less of himself because of a belt. Because I tell you what, it's the same. As yourselves with anything in life, you get there and you're like, you know what? I don't. If that makes sense, you don't feel any, any better, or it's definitely an achievement thing, But he will get there as long as you're training. You will get there.
Actually, just when you say that, no, he's after, not to go into Rob's life story or anything, but he moved over to Canada to start training them, mate. And I was telling them, just stay here, and if you want to drive up to the SPGs there or any of those places, there's some good gyms. But when a guy goes in as a white belt, but he knows a thing or two, say, or at least he thinks he does. What process does he go through in SPG?
Process you go through would be the same as anyone else, same as yourself. You'll find out what level you are. You'd have a quick conversation about how long you're training, everything else, and you get on the mats. And that's the thing, as you said, there's no hiding. You get on the mats, you go other white belts and blue belts and everything else, and there you go. Time will tell. The mats will. The roles never lie. So I mean, that would be the story, and the process to get the blue belt will, again, that goes down to the gym. In SPG, it would be John's notorious for making you earn your belt. So you'd have to earn it in the coach's eyes. So it's or anywhere else, you have to earn it. So he just have to establish himself in the gym, and if he is up to scratch with the level, I mean, he'll know it. Everybody else, he'll be rolling with the lads, he'll be catching them, or they're catching him, and he'll know himself. So it's quite simple. And as you know, like if I'm doing the judo, yourself, it's easy enough. Like
you might have encouraged Rob to stick with it, but you also might have just encouraged him to move to Gracie Barra and get that blue belt. That's what he wants, that Gracie definition blue belt, where he can tap out me as blue because I'm tall, like. But I love how Don, name dropped him, said where he is, busted his underground MMA gym that's been open. Ultra good. Don, can you give us his air code as well while you're at it, in case I go train?
Yeah. No, but that's it. Do you get a couple of lads over yourself actually just to do a few rounds, or at this point, are say those guys that aren't doing a whole heap of jiu-jitsu, are they any good to you? You know what I mean?
I have my brother there. We can do a bit of drilling with him, and there'll be one or two lads that have kind of a few mats there, and but again, like, it's not the same, as you know, lads. It's the gym environment. It's how as yourself, simply. It's you feel like you're progressing, and not that you aren't by doing the training you're doing, but it's yourself, the whole buzz of it in the gym, and you'd miss that, but it's what can we do, lads? You have to just make do with what you can, like.
Yeah, 100%.
Unfortunately, I don't have space to do a bit of underground, but if I did, I'd love to. It'd be brilliant. Just even have your own little gym, like that's something I'd love to have in the future, just a little spot at the back and have a little gym there. That if something like this did happen, or I don't know, something happened to the car, you couldn't go to the gym or whatever else, that you'd be able to do a bit at the back. I'd love to get I don't know if he's probably know Brian Moore, the fighter, like he's a class little gym at his home, and I'd love something like that, in the future,
Well, you'd be surprised how little space you really need, I suppose. If you have enough space for two lads to move around even a little bit. You're.
You know what? I again, as I said, out the back here, I have a little bit of space to do a bit of pads and that, And again, like there's when you stay here, there's plenty of greens and that. But again, that's weather dependent, As far as in the house and at home, genuinely, there's no room, lads. Honestly, there's the 6 of us here in a 3-bedroom house. There's 3 dogs. It's mental. There's no room, unfortunately. But I mean, I'm lucky. I know plenty, so I'm able to. I'm managing.
Imagine looking out your window and seeing undefeated Bellator pro Ciaran Clarke grappling on the communal grass. And
stop! You look like a mad thing, wouldn't you? Stop.
No, we were just saying before we started the podcast. We just mentioned the gloves in the back. Could you actually just take us through the story behind them?
Yeah. So right, we'll go from the start. That's I don't know how you can see that there. That's the first one. George Courtney in the 3 arena first fight. And if you notice, I don't know if you can see that, but it's Courtney versus Clarke.
Yeah.
Instead of the rest of them is Clarke versus Falden and so on, So, and actually that one as well was Ndoi. So it kind of goes to show who they thought was winning or, what was going on there. So,
you were taking that one, they reckoned.
No, it was the opposite. Courtney versus Clarke. Does that make sense? And I was the blue corner.
I get you,
I was the blue corner. So normally the red corner, which I was in the Fallen fight, I was the
guy.
Yeah, exactly. So
the A side.
So that goes to show I was the underdog in that one actually on the L betting. So I won that one. The 3 arena. That was a mad night. That's a story in itself.
Oh, for sure, man.
That would probably take an hour to tell, but
we went with a couple of them ourselves. The Bellator.
Yeah, oh my god, man, that was a mad one. They all have their own stories, to be honest. That one was obviously the Fallen fight. That was probably the best one, because I had it. It was a great one because of the because it was such a good fight, and to beat it was kind of like I established myself as a prospect, I suppose, as they say. Because Falden was up there as well, and the night in it, I was the second fight. There was no mess in this fight. I was the last fight of the night, which it was a disaster. I was a swing bout. Again, that's a long story. This one, I was second fight of the night. I won. I went out into the crowd. 300 people bought tickets off me, and it was buzzing. It was a great night. That was brilliant in the 3 arena. And then obviously this one was the last one. I fought Ndoi versus Clarke, as you can see in the poster. Probably to I was fighting him, if that makes sense. And again, blue corner. So I went in and won that one, obviously, in Paris. And my girlfriend and her friend, Ciaran, come over to watch that one. They were the only 2. It was the first event, the first event that they had fans, and as well, the very first major organization to have a fight in Paris or in France.
Yeah.
Since it was legalized. So that was kind of a bit of history in itself. So they're all I think they're all have their own stories to it. And
rumor has it those Falden gloves were blue before you split them open in the third round.
You can still I don't know how much you can see them, but probably not with the light, but
you can
the blood's still on them, yeah. So and even I had a t-shirt with my sponsors on it. That was thrown out after. That was destroyed with it as well. But look, it's the name of the game, lads. At the end of the day, it could be me in there. So it's me or him, and one day it might be me, or it's sure to be me. The way the game goes. So I mean, you just have to you have to take it as it comes, isn't it?
Ciaran, we win or we learn. I actually came up with that.
Ready, lads.
I meant to say, just with the blood, obviously in that second fight, your man was drenching you. And TriStar, they pour flake blood on the boys as they're grappling, as they're rolling, as they're training. Does John Kavanagh implement such techniques, or?
Yeah, around Halloween he does. No, when
he gets a half price.
It's a bit cheaper around that time of the year. No, he doesn't. No, of course not. But those things you can't prepare for, can you? It's that's why it's special as well. I suppose there's not many sports where, well, I'm sure I wouldn't say that, but those things happen on the night, like, you know, so you can't prepare for stuff like that. And again, as I said, that could have been me, you know, so I mean, that's why you have to be on your A game, you know, and you have to respect the other guy, because, you know, at the end of the day, that could have been me. You know, I could have zigged when I should have zagged, and he could have caught me. So it's the name of the game.
Yeah, 100%. Do you want any more cues there, Benny, or?
Well, if Ciaran has time, we had discussed here on the podcast a couple of episodes ago, James Gallagher and his potential upcoming fight with Patchy Mix.
Yeah.
You know, just wondering, you know, your thoughts, you know, seeing James on the mats. I know you said you kind of work with some of the heavier guys, but, you know, what level is he at? And you know, what you think of him as, and where his ceiling is at as a fighter?
James, as a fighter, my God, one thing I'd say that no one realizes, James is unbelievably good, and I genuinely mean that, because, you know, even myself before I joined SBG, it's the type of style that you can look at, and if you don't understand the game, you can't appreciate it, you know. So, and because he's so good, and how good he is at doing it, you know, his game, you know, getting to the back, the choke or the guillotine, you know. So, I mean, and I'm not sure if you've seen the guy that fought for the flyweight title. He's over there training at the minute, James, in his gym. I forget the guy's name. He's
the guy Figueroa whooped.
Tim Elliott, I think his name is.
Tim Elliott, of course.
Yeah. He fought DJ back in the day. Almost had DJ in a choke, mind you.
That's right. Did
you see Tim Elliott, just not to get off topic, did you see his last fight? He was doing like Ciaran Clarke. He was whooping your man the third round, and then he just started saying, "You're a woman beater." Do you see that? No,
I didn't see that. No,
he was pulling him out. Apparently, there were some accusations against this guy.
Right. No
and
way.
then he goes, "How'd you like that? You like to do this to women, huh?"
No way. I'd have to actually watch that back.
You may.
It was well timed with International Women's Day, and the guy on bottom then was like, you know, you don't know the full story. And I was like, it was the most beta thing I had ever seen.
Oh, I can't believe I missed that. No way.
But those are only accusations, and we don't know for sure if they're true. But Tim Elliott said it, so I'm taking Tim's side.
There you go, yeah. But Tim, anyway, he was after that one, it must have been recently. He was saying how good James is, and that's the thing about James. If you don't understand the technique, you can't appreciate it. Or when you're watching it, even having experience, you're like, like he's not doing that special, but it's how he's doing it, and it's only when you're in there and you feel it. My God, he's very, very slick, and his potential as a fighter, genuinely, I think he can. Of course, he can be the Bellator champion, and I think probably if it wasn't for how this year's went, he probably would have had that strap by the end of the year, and I think definitely it's in his sights, and as well, not many know James is an absolute gent, you know. Obviously they see the personality with the fights and stuff, but he is an absolute gent. He's one of the nicest fellas you ever meet, and he's sound, and his style, again, as I said, you wouldn't appreciate it until you're in there with him. But on the mats, man, he's slick, very, very slick, and hopefully, please God, by the end of the year, it'd be great to see him get it, and John can have the kind of, I suppose, you know, accomplishment as a coach to have the Bellator title, the UFC title, and so on. So that'd be brilliant.
Yeah,
the real question,
James the Gentleman Gallagher, as he's known.
The real question.
Yeah, there you go.
Did he send you any merch? Did he set you up with
I
any?
think he's repping a JG hoodie there at the minute. I think I can't say for sure, but
I should have said he's not that much of a gentleman. I'm only joking. No, I'm only joking. He's a new ranger at the minute. Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, looks good. But and then the rest of the boys that are in the gym. So you've got Brad Katona there as well, isn't he?
Yeah, Brad's there. He recently just signed the Brave. He had a great stint at the UFC. He picked up 1 or 2 losses that were close, you know, and the decision to let him go was very harsh, because honestly, Brad is
were against good guys like Marab. The VIP is going to be half that top 15, like, so.
Oh my God, like, I was actually in the corner with him for that one. I was in Canada with him for that one. And yeah, man, like that, he's a monster, that guy. And since that fight, even Brad has worked on like a lot of things since that. Like, he's technically in the gym, Brad is one of the soundest guys technically. Like, I mean, there's not many places you could fault him. He's a great athlete. He's great cardio. He has the mindset, you know. I trained a lot with Brad, and I learned so much from him. He would definitely be like some of the likes of in my eyes, up to the likes of kind of nearly like the captains on the team there. You know, the likes of him. Richie Smullen would be a bit probably the biggest influencer on my game, to be honest, out of the gym. I learned a serious amount of stuff from Richie, and not even that, just as a friend, you know, having him there. Richie would be one of the guys that I'd look to for everything really in the gym, you know. So Richie would kind of be I've heard one of the lads saying this, Nate Kelly, another new guy in the gym that's not a new guy, but a guy that come over from another gym. I heard him saying that as well, that he's like the team captain, and he really, really is. That would probably be the best description of him at the minute. Like, he's kind of like he wouldn't say, you know, he probably wouldn't agree with that, but we would all look up to him like that, you know, the likes of him, you know, likes of Richie, likes of Brad, you know, we would all kind of like the guys coming up in the pros look up to them guys, and yeah, I to be honest, those two guys I get a lot of training with them, so I'm looking forward to getting back working with them.
Yeah, a lot of good guys there. But just touch on one more name, Johnny Walker. He was hanging around SBG there for a while.
Yeah, that's right.
Who was it? He was there for like, I think he arrived there last year, and then we thought, oh, Johnny's coming for 2 or 3 weeks train, he'll be gone. And then we noticed he was on the Insta with John Kavanagh around Christmas, and we're like, what happened there? Did Johnny Walker get stuck in Ireland? Like, why is he still here? Is he, because there's not many big guys for him to go with, like, you know?
No, I think he's still there, to be honest. I think he's still here. I'm not sure. Again, I wouldn't. I think so. Yeah, I think he has him a bar, but I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know Johnny personally, but he's been around the gym and stuff, and he's always kind of having a laugh. You know, he's always playing his music, and you know, he's kind of having a bit of crack with the lads. But he kind of trained more with, of course, the big lads, which be Will Flory, and the likes of all those guys. So he'd be training a lot with all them. So yeah, but I think he might be still in Ireland. I'm not sure, to be honest. Yeah, but I think he's there to stay now in SBG. I think the last fight, Dave Roach and 1 or 2 other coaches went over with him to Dubai. So I think he's there to stay now. I think he's enjoying the training in Ireland, you know.
I think Johnny probably looked at himself and saw a lot of similarities with Conor's style, or at least Conor's, you know, base attributes athletically, and thought, if anyone can kind of mold me into the fighter I need to be and still allow me that freedom, maybe it's John Kavanagh.
I think you hit the nail on the head there, to be honest. That's the thing about John. He won't look at all his fighters. None of us are the same, really, you know. Like, some of us, you could say, are similar, but you know, we I think when you stick to the basics, and which John does, and everything else you can put your own spice to it, I suppose. And no better man to go to, because Johnny, as you said, has that kind of, you know, has that style, and John will kind of tone him down a bit, if that makes sense, you know, bring that kind of madness down, as you say. But yeah, like, I mean, I think he's fitting well in there, you know, likes a big Will Flory and the likes. He's great training partners there with them, you know.
Charlie Ward, maybe?
Charlie as well, yeah. I'm trying to think here, because who else to be? John Phillips there be over. Paul Bourne when he's up. There'll be a few other guys. There'll be Pascu.
The Mountain has been known to pop around SBG.
Oh my God, yeah. I've seen him myself in the gym, and to be honest, I wasn't even watching Game of Thrones at the time, so, but I thank God I probably would have fanboyed him, but my God, he's massive. That's and again, I like watching the boys. Do you know what? Actually, when I watch them, I love watching them when I'm dying, which is crazy because it's mental torture. I watch what they're eating in a day, they're eating like 10,000 calories, and I'm like starving myself, and I'm watching. It's mental torture, but I don't know why I watch it. Like, I'm not watching like Eddie Hall eating a load of crap, and I'm like, why am I watching this? But you just want to watch it because you can't eat it. Like, it's crazy.
Fall into the YouTube rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's mental, man.
Man, excuse us for getting these last few clippables in, but people love these little clips. So tell us, man, how much confidence does it give you to have a guy with John Kavanagh's experience in your corner? Like, with everything he's done, he's been involved in some of the biggest nights in combat sports, not just recently, but in history now at this stage. Like, he's been there, done it, and he's, you know, reached peaks that very few coaches will ever reach. So how much confidence does that give you going into a fight?
It's hard to explain, to be honest. It's like trusting, like, see, when I have my brother there, obviously, which is your brother, your family, you know, when him and John are in my corner, and of course Dave Roach as well, like, I have a lot of trust in them, you know, and it showed me last one, because I tell you why, because, you know, I was fighting a 8-1 guy, and the paper, it didn't make sense. I was going over to France to fight the hometown guy, and here's John coming to me with this name that Bellator gives me, and he's like, you can do it, you know. And there was no doubt. I mean, it just on paper was like, it didn't make sense, but he came to me and I was like, he just didn't see the record, you know. And actually the only loss on Jean's record at the time was in another SPG guy, so we knew a bit about him, and, you know, I trusted in John. I said, yeah, let's do it. And I wasn't saying no anyway, but I mean, John wouldn't steer me wrong, and that's why I have a lot of trust in him, and that's built over the years and training there, and even the things that behind the scenes that he's done for even myself and my brother over the years, between getting the sponsorships and, you know, putting our best interest at first, you know, getting us getting a sponsorship, you know, getting us first dibs on the likes of you know, for team trials for Ireland, and making sure we're going there, and, you know, down to everything, man. You wouldn't believe some of the stuff, and John's like that with everyone, you know. He's like that with everyone, that when he sees you, when you, it's like when you, it's give and take with John, you know. You put in the effort, he's going to give it back to you, you know. And yeah, again, the trust that I've built with him, it's unbelievable, you know. And again, when you have him in your corner, you walk back to that stool, you know you're getting the right advice there and then, and you do it. And you'll probably hear in the fights, he's saying the things, and as soon as he's saying it, I'm doing it, because it's you know, his eye to detail, because he's watching so many fights, and because he's seen so many, that's down to his coaching. You know, you just trust it, and you're seeing what happened in the recent fights, and hopefully now just keep it going, like.
For sure. But now I just want to circle back to something. You were saying the Mountain. Obviously, he's a huge guy. He's what, 6'10", like 400 pounds.
Yeah.
Would you submit him? You know, do you just get in, do a bit of jiu-jitsu, or, you know, just a bit grappling? Who comes out of there alive?
Oh my God, jeez. That's a mad one. Oh my God. Nah, I think at that weight, man, that's probably just squeeze me head off. Like, I don't know. Like, that's at that weight, like, you know. If I was now, if you would actually, I'd be making sure I'd be getting to his back, you know. I'd be if I was to get in his back or something. But you see him with Conor, like, you know, that is in real time, you know. If that was to happen, that's what would happen to him and Conor. You know, some people, he was even saying after, you know, what would happen and everything else. But, you know, God, I'm even smaller than Conor. God, imagine even getting onto his leg or something. You couldn't even fit my hands around him. You know?
How are you gonna? You can get.
Could you pull up that Conor clip, Brendan, please?
I could have a look. How are you going to get that man's back? How are you going to get hooks on that man? You're going to like he's wearing a cape while you're hanging out.
No, I mean,
deep breath.
Yeah, no, give me a few more years at jiu-jitsu and everything else. But my God, the weight. There's videos as well of you know, Eddie Hall and stuff, boxing, boxers. You've seen all them, you know, like that. You've seen how it goes, you know. But yeah, like
I mean, boxing is one thing, because like you can avoid the guy, I suppose. You can, you know, like striking, you
exactly,
move away.
Yeah, but I mean,
jiu-jitsu is body to body.
Yeah, I'd be diving underneath them legs there and trying to get to his back. But look at
diving at the legs.
Like, I mean, that's unbelievable. Like, look, but like that's it there. Connor's lighting the feet. He's like, that's how it go. Like, you know, you can't catch him.
But I think, you know? Like, there, if he wants to hurt Conor there, I think he does. Like, you know?
There, see that there? Like, as he put his head down, O'Connor did really well. Like, he kept the posture. Like, I mean, you know, I don't know, man. At that size and weight and that strength, like, I mean, if he wanted to catch Connor's leg there, I mean, I don't know how much he's pulling back, but I know Connor's putting in them shots. Like, I think,
they're not light, like they're not that light, anyway.
Yeah, like, I mean, any sort of like normal average person, you know, when you're talking even like a 120 kilo man, like that's different. But I think he's 400 kilo or something. Am I right? I think he's like
400 pounds.
I wouldn't say it's all that, but he's definitely over 160
kilos. Not 400
kilos,
pounds, sorry. It's not 400 kilos, sorry. Yeah, he's 400 pounds. Like, so what you're talking, like 280 kilos, like, or something. Like, it's like, that's madness. I like, you know, but like, look, Connor's throwing the shots. Like, I mean, they're hitting, like, you know, there, and look there. Like, I don't know if he just was to reef his leg up. Like,
look,
you know, like,
Ciaran, if you want to fight, I'll put in a word with Uncle Scott Coker, and we'll get you. We'll get you to fight if you want. We have behind the scenes contacts.
Yeah. I'm not signing up for that one.
Yeah.
Somebody's has got to go.
Yeah. Plenty of that be. No, just because I was only wondering, because, you know, not that I do any huge amount of training, but I know a little bit. And I went to grapple with one of my friends who was 140 kilos.
You're right.
And I just couldn't do anything. He just caught me in a guillotine. He's 6'5", 140 kilos. He caught me in a guillotine, lifted me up, and that was that. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, I think once people get to a certain size, it's over.
Yeah, look, I think I don't know what sort of level you're at yourself, but if they're untrained and generally, you know, if you're at a good level, or, you know, and even if you remember back to the UFC, to the UFCs when Hoist was fighting, he was a black belt, you know, like when black belts were, you know, no one was a black belt, you know, and even like some of the guys were able to get some punches off them, you know. So I mean, and it's like Hickson says, you know, if you can't submit a 350-pound guy, there's something wrong with your jiu-jitsu, or you know, so, which is true, you know, like, it's all down to your technique and what you're doing. And there's clips out there, you've seen it, you know what I mean? The martial arts wins every time, and you've seen the likes of Owen Roddy, you know, going with the bodybuilder, and then within 20 seconds and submitting them, you know, look, here we go, your man. But I mean, him, that's a different animal there, you know. So
I thought that clip was never going to end there for a minute, Brendan, so I'm glad it came to this conclusion. I thought we were going to watch an hour of that sparring.
I was just going to let it roll, man. But if that's what the Gracies meant when they were talking about getting your blue belt, I don't think Rob's ever going to get it. If that's the bigger, stronger opponent.
Exactly, that untrained, you know. So there's Roddy there. Look at this. Oh no, is that Roddy? No, I don't know if he's kind of.
No, I'm trying to see it's a fairly famous clip. This is
that's it.
Versus bodybuilder. Okay, let's
look at these. We're giving free advertisement to this game here. I don't like it.
After this. So here, look, this is some bodybuilder here. Look, he's definitely over 100 kilo. Roddy's about 70 odd kilo. Low 70s, I think he is. Maybe he's high 70s now in retirement. But look, they're gonna roll here. You know, your man, you know by him, he's not trained. Look, Roddy sweeps him. Your man comes up.
Yeah.
You know, he does well. Roddy gets the front headlock. Your man
he throws him off here.
He falls off. Yeah, here we go. He lifts him up. Like, watch, and then Roddy has the guillotine and taps him. You know, so there you go. Like, that's it. Yeah. John Kavanagh, black belt there. You know, trained 10 plus years.
But then that's not a huge guy either. Like, if, you know, that might be 110 kilos maybe. So
yeah, I'd imagine he's definitely 100 kilos anyway. But it looks, he's over 6 foot. Roddy's about 5'10". So he's not like, you know, massive, like the mountain. You know what I mean? So that's definitely a different story. Like, you know.
And Owen Roddy's the striking coach, and he's got
there you go
for days.
There you go. Yeah, and again, like, looking at the likes of Roddy and they're not big guys, like John, even like, but John, like, he would wrap you up in the ball, like nobody my God, like nobody understands. Like, he'd have you in like a pretzel in seconds, like, you know what I mean? So, yeah, man.
Would John be tapping you, say, on a regular? Would you go back and forth, or how does that go when you?
Like, if he were to have a role, like, geez, John would be that guillotine of his, man. If he got my head down, which he does, yeah, like, John's sick, man. Like, again, he's 40, 41 or 2 now, but like, still, man, he has to step away from training a little bit because he's quite a bad neck injury. But yeah, like John, man, he's still a sicko. Like, you know, we'd be coming in and like he's doing stuff, and like we would be asking, like, where is he? We'd be often like asking, you know, where is he? Like, you know, where is he practicing this? You know, like, or like, you know, like I don't. We'd be asking, but he's just he's so slick, John. His understanding of the game is next level, like, obviously, and yeah, like John, he's a special one, already.
For sure. But just one more question before we leave it.
Yeah, Ciaran.
When you were saying with the GAA, you were playing GAA for a long time. When did you stop that and commit to you know, your MMA career, say?
I stopped. Well, I stopped the Gaelic when I was 16. I started MMA when I was 15, before my 16th birthday, and I stayed in the Gaelic for another couple of months. But my nanny's sister would be married to a judge, which the judges are, you know, famous to the Blues name. You know, there was 13 of them, and they were all they were kind of the family of the Blues. If that makes sense. So yeah, exactly. So so I called him my uncle. My uncle Paul was kind of, since we were young, got us into the Gaelic, you know. So that was that, like, kind of, that's why we kind of kept that in early, you know. So but then when we said we were starting to fight, and that's when we stopped the Gaelic then. But I played until I think I played minor for 1 year. But I was only 16, like, so I was still playing on the 16s and minor. And but that was it then, like, then I started the MMA, then that was the end of it then. But I enjoyed the Gaelic, you know. I enjoyed it, and yeah, like, I mean, it's a tough sport, like, you know. And I remember they used to be always saying to me, you'd be, like, you know, like, I'd meet them out or something, and they'd be like, you'll be back. This was like early on, like, you know, like, you'll be back. I was kind of looking at them, I was like, no, I'll never be back, you know. Like in my head then I was like I'll be where I want to be, you know, or at least I knew I wouldn't be back, if that makes sense. I knew I'd be somewhere with it, you know, if that makes sense. So but yeah, there you go.
And I stopped the football at 16 as well, but that was just to watch MMA full time. So
yeah, I mean, look, you both manifested into reality. You're a little commentator now, and Ciaran's an undefeated professional fighter. So
really no difference.
No, none at all, really.
Yeah, so I think that covers everything. B, if you want to stop the recording there.
Yeah, a little bit of an outro for the fans, Don. Come on.
Yes. Look, I don't know, Ciaran, any last words?
No, lads. Just want to say thanks very much. Probably didn't get to say the best thanks to everybody that voted for me through for the Sports Star of the Year. So I'd like to say thanks a million to everybody that voted for me, because it wasn't done online or anything. It's you have to go out, buy the paper, send it in and vote. So that goes to show it's kind of like old school and early, and still people went out and done that for me. And I just know it'll generally be people around our age that are voting. So it just goes to show they went out and done it. So I want to say thanks very much to everybody who voted for me. And yeah, thanks to all my sponsors, new sponsors on at the moment. Supercod, a good friend of mine that I train with, Mo, he's just opened up a new business in town, Supercod. You know, which would be one of my main sponsors, Granite Tops, Earth Nightclub, all my other sponsors, Mauler MMA, Era Muscle, that sort of me supplements. Just have to share all them in there, lads. My girlfriend Salon, Sheva Bell, Connect Florin, Sean Roy Fitness that I do my boxing training with, Atomic Fitness. Who else? We have in Hartford Motor Company. Who else? We got I'm trying to think of me poster early. JD
Knowledge Podcast. The podcast.
And
the lads get some of that nice merch when it comes out as well.
Exactly, yeah. So all my sponsors again, Quick Thing Meals, the whole lot of them, like, no one realizes when, I just know, lads, it's like anything, when you just get to support even to start this, so, or the encouragement, that makes it a big difference. So thanks very much to all of them and everybody else. So, and I appreciate having me on, lads.
No bother, yeah, the whole damn town. So I hope all the boys in Drogheda hear that. Yeah,
exactly, yeah.
But yeah, that covers anything from you, B.
No, I'll cut it there, man.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. Thanks so much for Ciaran for coming on and you know, having the chats. And you know, maybe a couple of fights down the line we'll do it again. So
Guys, definitely will, and please God to be another one this year, and so we'll do it after that one. We'll set it for after that one.
100%.
Nice. We're out.
We're out. Yeah, recording.